First official wide-release film of 2023, M3GAN. Tom Hanks is a man called Otto. Writer and director Sarah Polley's new riveting drama, Women Talking. Noah Baumbach's latest film, White Noise, starring Adam Driver, and the Hindi 3-hour epic, RRR. That's today on The King's Corner. What's up, guys, and welcome to an all-new episode of The King's Corner. We've got a lot of films to talk about today, so let's just start with Blumhouse's new film, M3GAN. This is the first official wide-release film of 2023, starring Allison Williams as the aunt of Katie. Her parents have died in an awful crash, and now she needs to take custody of the child, where she might not have time for her because of her job, where she's a big scientist who makes a lot of money and has a nice house, even though she can't afford or doesn't have the time to fix her fence that is causing so much trouble from the dog next door. What does Allison Williams do? She creates M3GAN to help Katie with the grieving process, while M3GAN gets more strong and powerful day by day and more sinister. This is supposed to be a horror film. This is brought to us from Blumhouse, and this is the January horror movie we've all been waiting for. Look, January films as of the last few years haven't been too bad, to be honest with you. You've had your stinkers, of course, but not a stinker like this. This film is abysmal. M3GAN has a terrible screenplay with just a bad, overwritten and underwritten at the same time story. There's no depth to any of it. You want to care for the characters, but at the same time you realize how just stupid they are. This Allison Williams character is so underwritten, but at the same time overwritten. She's got a lot to say, but it's nothing of worth. It's very dumb. She is one of the stupidest characters as of recent film history. And I think the performances aren't that great either. Nothing about this movie leaves you with any, wow, that was pretty good. The only thing that I thought was tolerable about the film was its pacing. It is entertaining. It's like watching YouTube videos of car crashes. They might entertain you for a few hours, but at the same time, it is still a car crash. And that's exactly what M3GAN is. You know, it's extremely dumb. It's not scary. There's one sequence that I moderately liked, which is in the trailers, and it takes place in a shed. I thought that was kind of interesting, but the rest of the film leaves you very underwhelmed. It's very cliched. This is a film that's not as good as the 2019 Child's Play remake. You know, it's very similar to the fact that they link up with a kid that they befriend, but in this film, M3GAN doesn't turn against the boy or the girl in this case. She wants to protect her to the end. It's not a good movie. It's a poor attempt at a thriller. And this is a 1 out of 5 star film for me. Can't recommend it. There's so many problems with the screenplay. It's one of the worst horror thriller screenplays that I've seen in a while. A downer of a film for sure, but let's hope that things get a little better with A Man Called Otto, coming from the director of Finding Neverland, one of the most acclaimed films of 2004. Tom Hanks stars as the grumpy old Scrooge-like character whose wife has passed away, and now he has nothing left. He has no more will to live. He wants to end it all. And throughout the film, there is those sprinkles of darkness throughout, which I really appreciated, and Tom Hanks pulled it off. He pulled off the scenes where, you know, people start to try to open him up a little bit, open up his heart a little bit, to have his story fully explained. The new neighbors that move in across the street, Marisol is the character's name. She creates a bond with Otto, even though he doesn't want to create the bond. As the film continues and continues, he becomes sort of like a father figure to her, and she sort of fills the void that he's been missing, not of love, but of friendship. Mark Forster does a great job directing this movie, even though I do think it's a little long. It runs for about 2 hours. I think you could probably have cut it maybe 20, 25 minutes and still got the same point across. Even though I do like the darkness of the story and the backstory of it, there's some storylines in the film, particularly one with a real estate storyline, that just didn't work for me, and it falls kind of flat. But when you get to the emotional stuff of the movie, I think it really works. I think Tom Hanks is great, other than the couple storylines that don't work in the film. And the length of it, I think it's a good movie, and I do recommend A Man Called Otto. This is a 3.5 out of 5-star film. Our next film is Women Talking, directed and written by Sarah Polley, starring Jessie Buckley, Claire Foy, very small supporting performance from Frances McDormand, and an all-star cast. This is a film that's based off of a book, which is loosely based off true events of women in a religious colony in the late 2000s that have been sexually molested. They've gotten pregnant. They've had babies from their attackers, and now it's their decision to either leave the colony or fight and stay. So they all have sort of different views on what they should do and what decisions they should make, which would be best for their religion. This movie is a powerhouse of a film that is about an hour and 40 minutes without any end credits, but the runtime to this, I mean, it's not that long, but it flies by. I mean, from the moment it starts, the dialogue, the screenplay, the incredible screenplay by Sarah Polley, which I think has potential to win the Academy Award, for the screenplay Oscar. I believe it would probably fall into the original screenplay category, since it's not well, maybe it's adapted from the book. Regardless, I think it's a shoo-in to be nominated and potentially win. I think the screenplay here is probably one of the best, if not the best, screenplays of the year. The dialogue is extremely powerful. The movie is injected with lighter moments, with darker moments. I mean, there's just such a humanity to this film that Sarah Polley was able to bring out as a director as well, from her actors and from her, and I do think she should be nominated for Best Director. Is that going to happen? Who knows? But I mean, this is one of uh, the strongest directorial outings from a woman that I've seen. I think this is a really powerful movie with powerful performances. I think Jessie Buckley and Claire Foy should be both shoo-ins for Best Supporting Actress. Look, if you could nominate two performances from Banshees of Inisherin for Supporting Actor, Barry Coogan and Brendan Gleeson, you can surely nominate Claire Foy and Jessie Buckley. But I think they may go in the direction of Everything Everywhere, nominating Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu, or Stephanie Sue, however you pronounce her last name. Regardless, the performances in this movie are fantastic and should be nominated. The movie, is powerful. And do I have any negative things to say about it? Believe it or not, no. The movie kind of floored me. Ben Whishaw is a supporting role, and he's got some emotional scenes, and it's just a powerful movie. This is a strong, powerful, heavy film, which I think is rewatchable, and it does have a rewatchability due to the incredible screenplay. And Women Talking is a 5 out of 5-star film for me, and it's one of the best pictures of the year, and I'm happy that I was able to check it out. Noah Baumbach's latest film, White Noise. This is follow-up to the Oscar-nominated movie Marriage Story, which won Laura Dern the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Here we see Adam Driver return with a family, with Greta Gerwig as his wife, and there is a lot of people in this movie that are obsessed with death. They're talking about death, Hitler's death, Elvis's death, their lives, what it means to to die? Are you afraid of death? The fear of death, the fear of living. So many themes that are interjected into this film, and scenes of horror, scenes of humor, with a great lead performance by Adam Driver. But I don't think the film is that compelling. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes or whatever it is without any end credits, and you feel it at times, especially in the middle of the film. You don't really know what it wants to be. There's this disaster, this toxic air disaster that happens. So everybody has to sort of quarantine, evacuate, and it's how this family deals with it. This family, uh, particularly the two leads with Greta Gerwig and Adam Driver, how they're so enraptured by death and their thoughts on it. How do they handle this situation where, they might not make it out alive? Well, things, happen. I'm not going to spoil it, but then you realize that Greta Gerwig's character has been doing some things underhandedly that Adam Driver finds out about, that the daughter finds out about, that sort of protects her from her fear of death. So the movie has a lot of themes and has a lot of things going for it, but I don't think it hits on all accounts. I think the acting is great. I think Baumbach is a good director, but I think his screenplay has too much going on, and I think that it doesn't hit on all cylinders in this movie. I think it hits on some of them, but by the time it ends, you think, well, that was a little much, and I'm not sure how I felt about it. I liked the movie, didn't love it, but I think I'm like middle of the road with it. This is like a film like 3,000 Years of Longing to me, where I really liked the first two acts, but the third act of the movie kind of derailed it. This, it was almost like, I don't know if the third act derailed it or it derailed it from the second act. Who knows? But there's sequences that are overlong, and I just don't think the film works as a whole. So, White Noise is a 3 out of 5 star film for me, right in the middle. Don't dislike it, don't really like it. It's just kind of, I'm very indifferent to it. So, if you like Noah Baumbach, Adam Driver, he's giving a great performance. If you want to see a great Adam Driver performance and you want to see a new movie, definitely check this out, but don't expect to be blown away by it, even though you might be. That's just where I stand on it. S.S. Rajamouli's RRR is a film that might surprise you as it surprised me. The Hindi film that's 3 hours long on Netflix. This is a story about friendship. It's a story about betrayal. It's a story about trust. It's a story about love. It's a story about dancing. There's violence. This movie probably has everything that you'd expect. And the reason, Top Gun Maverick reminds us why we love to see movies and why we love movies. I think RRR gives us that same feeling, and it gives us that same love. Um, I didn't see this in a movie theater. I watched it on Netflix, but it riveted me from start to finish. I think the action is supposed to be stylized, so you can't watch it and say, well, it was a little goofy. I think it was meant to be that way. It was meant to be stylized like that. The performances I think are great. The two lead guys are wonderful. I think that their chemistry, they work so well together when they have to be friends and when they have to be enemies. It's the ultimate Anakin versus Obi-Wan story, and I think it works so well. And the direction, I mean, it's so powerful. It pops off the screen. The visuals are very strong. I think when the movie has to be violent, the visuals are extremely graphic, not to the point where you want to look away, but to the point where you go, "Wow, this is pretty intense." There's so many tones throughout this film, but I think they all work and they all mesh perfectly. This is one of the best films of the year. It's one of the most entertaining films of the year, and RRR is a 5 out of 5 star film for me, and I highly recommend watching it if you have Netflix and you love watching good movies. And let's close with the physical media roundup of the week, the two new 4K Blu-ray releases of the week. We have Black Adam, the DC film, which will not get a sequel, which is totally irrelevant now, but it's something that you watch and you say, well, you know what, that was fun, and I really enjoyed it while it lasted. This is one of the better superhero films of the year with a great 4K steelbook, Dr. Fate in there. A lot of cool imagery in this film. The 4K Blu-ray I did happen to watch last night or the night before, and it's shaping up to be one of the best 4K discs of 2023. We just put out our top 10 best 4K discs of 2022. This image and the sound is incredible. Warner Brothers doesn't let us down. So Black Adam on 4K Blu-ray. It's also out on Blu-ray, DVD, digital. I do recommend it. And Pray for the Devil, a little film that I watched late October. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. The trailers, I think, are okay, but I think the film could fall short. This is a better version of 2018's The Nun. The Nun came out in 17 or 18. Regardless, this is a better version of The Nun. Lead actress is good. The story's good. I think that it has some pretty creepy imagery, and it's up there with Smile as one of the better horror films of the year. So that's the physical media roundup for the week, and that's the show. That's the King's Corner. Going back down the list, we've got a lot of films. M3GAN is a big thumbs down, and I do not recommend. A Man Called Otto is a thumbs up, and I do recommend it. White Noise. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future episodes of the King's Corner. A lot of reviews next week. We have Plane, House Party, maybe some other surprises in there as well. Physical Media Roundup will include Groundhog Day on 4K Steelbook, and She Said on Blu-ray, maybe some other surprises as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Ranking72 and Instagram and TikTok at KingRises131. And thank you so much for watching this episode of the King's Corner. And until next time, over and out.